Hello everybody, welcome back to Wolfeei Extras. Today we're going to be talking about the top 10 newcomers for MCC. Now I've done this before, I did not grab the video that I did last time. Also, this image I will talk about in a little bit. But I wanted to give an updated list because I think it's probably been many months since I last talked about the top 10 potential newcomers for MCC. And I might have actually had some of the newcomers correct, I guess. From last time. I don't remember how long it's been. However, this time I tried to make a relatively fresh list in terms of my channel, at least, of newcomers that I don't think I've mentioned, and I'll try to give some insight on every single pick that I've made. First, this person calculated the average MCC coins of Block Wars members, which includes some of the MCC players, and I think it's very interesting. I think these definitely would look very different. I think obviously JoJo would be higher because JoJo is very good at MCC. I think Misty would be higher, and Ant would be higher. So like there would be a couple swaps you'd probably make. Sam would be literally at the top tier probably. Also, Feinberg is not that much higher in terms of MCC than someone like Purple or Shane in my opinion. So yeah, that's that. Also, before I'm sure someone will probably comment about this. I heard about the situation. If you don't know what the situation is, you can go look on the MCC Reddit. I will not address it. Okay, cool. Moving on. This is the reason why I'm making this video. This person, I don't know what their username is, but they've been doing. There's someone on Reddit who's been doing newcomer every single day, go vote type thing. Which is the inspiration for this video. And basically, people just every single day leave comments on the MCC Reddit for who they think should join the event. Now, I happen to win the first day, which is great. I really appreciate that. I think I already mentioned that on this channel, but I'm appreciative of winning. You know, I'm glad that people want to see me in, at least on Reddit, partially. So yeah. I did not include myself in this top 10 list before anyone's curious. I'm hoping that this is going to work without it leaking the entire list of people. First, honorable mentions. There's 3 honorable mentions. These are people that I'm pretty sure I've mentioned plenty of times in the past, but I still want to mention it because if I didn't mention them, I feel like people would be like, what? Why? So first is Redunes. Red is a good friend of mine. He's a lifestyle representative. He's relatively familiar with a lot of players, whether that's through meeting them in Block Wars or through playing against them in events. He knows a good amount of people, and he would provide a new type of POV to the event, and I think he'd fit in relatively well. I think Pirates SMP is definitely also something to mention. He is a Pirates SMP member, and maybe with his inclusion, a balanced Pirates SMP team would be possible. So yeah, Redunes, good pick. Next up, Mr. Cat. Now, Misty's already played in Pride. Okay, Misty's played MCC Pride. However, I still think Misty would be a good main roster addition for MCC. Misty also provides a new type of POV, in my opinion, to the event. Obviously, Misty on YouTube is very prominent in terms of making like command block and redstone type videos. And I think Misty would be a fantastic person to pair up with the Hermits again, which might create some room for some of the other players to experiment a little bit with other teammates and still give the Hermits a very reliable player to play with. So I think Misty's still a good player, but not making the top 10 this time since I've already mentioned both Red and Misty a lot. And the third one is Grace. Grace would be, or Gracie I should say. Grace is a good addition to the roster. Obviously, we need more female representation in MCC. I think any event could benefit from more female candidates. She's played in MCC Rising 2 and did pretty solid. Was a very hyped up player for that event. And I think she'd make a good addition to the main roster, kind of similar to Redunes in terms of connections, where Grace knows a bunch of people, whether that's through the SMP she's played in or through Block Wars. She knows a good amount of people, and I think she'd fit in very well. So yeah, those are the 3 honorable mentions for this video. Just wanted to give them a little bit of a teeny tiny shout out, as I still think they are great additions to the roster. I just want to give a more highlighted position to some other people, starting with Ital, who I did not give a number. I tried to order these. I just forgot Ital in the ordering thing, but Ital is on here. He would be a very unique addition to the roster. He's a French creator, I'm pretty sure, from the QSMP. Now, he is someone who I think I might have covered on this channel before. Let me turn on the music a little bit. I've mentioned this person on the channel before. I think they had an interaction with Toby and Phil on the QSMP talking about MCC, and Ital seems interested. He's just skeptical about how possible the team that Toby requested would be. I think it'd be a very interesting addition to the roster. I don't know if Scott would, or not Scott, maybe Scott, well, just in general, if MCC would experiment with another non-English team from a different language, maybe a French team. I think they've got Shadoon. I don't know if Shadoon speaks French. I know he's part French. I don't know if he speaks French, but you could do Ital, Shadoon, Ludwig, because I think Ludwig speaks French, and Pokimane. There you go, banger team. There's your French team, I guess. So yeah, maybe it could work, but I think Ital would be an interesting addition to the roster. I think it'd be a very fresh POV, and they'd provide a new audience for MCC, which I think is good. Then next, you got Eloise. Eloise was going to be my first pick, but I guess Ital is my first pick here now. Eloise recently, I think, left Noxtrew. I think she's not working with Noxtrew anymore. And I think she probably will be an addition to the MCC roster within a year, probably. I don't know how soon she would be able to be added to the roster. I don't know if there's any, rules to that. But I know Owen was added relatively soon after not being in the Noxtrew anymore. I think it was maybe like half a year. I could be totally wrong. So maybe we'll see her early next year. I don't think we'll see her this year in the roster. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. I think probably early next year is when you can expect Eloise to make an appearance. But yeah, I think she'd be a good fit. She knows a bunch of people. Very funny POV, I think, as well. And more female representation, always good. Moving on. Jimmy here. Look, Jimmy, I know, is interested in MCC. I know he's expressed it in the past. Obviously, he was on my Rising team, which also just reminds me that I forgot to include someone to this list who I would probably put an honorable mention. Sleepy is also an honorable mention. I think Sleepy would be very funny. I don't know how well he would fit into MCC, but I don't know how many people he knows. But he would be a hilarious POV to add to the main roster. I think that'd be very funny. If anything, Sleepy could be a freaking one-time player. Jimmy, I think, would be a good player. I think Jimmy would be someone who would probably be more likely for a non-canon event, maybe a one-time player. But Jimmy knows a lot of people. I think Jimmy might have been on SMP Live, maybe SMP Earth, I'm not sure. So he knows a lot of people through that. He's also just a pretty large creator who's, been around for a while. Obviously, has a very iconic past with the Vine thing and everything. But yeah, Jimmy would be a good addition. Obviously, like I said, he was on my Rising team. Or at least my Rising application team, I should say. And I think he'd be very fun. He'd be a very funny POV, very unique POV, new POV. However, I don't think he would be someone who would play every single month or sign up every single month. I think he's more likely to make an appearance every now and then, like a Connor Eats Pants or something like that. Moving on. Izuma Void. I think Izuma might have shown interest in MCC in the past. I could be wrong. I think he has, or at least he was asked, and I think he said he was down. I don't know how many people Izuma knows outside of Hermitcraft, but I think Izuma is a very interesting POV. I think it'd be a new, unique Hermit POV again, as I think the way Izuma plays Minecraft and makes videos and streams feels very unique, feels very, one of a kind, and I think that's cool. I think that's good to have in MCC. I could see Izuma. I'm sorry. I could see Izuma being a recurring player. I don't know if Izuma is a competitive player wanting to play every single month, or if they just want to try out the event, like Etho, for example, or maybe like a B-dubs. We'll see. But I think Izuma would be a fun addition to the roster. I'm pretty sure Izuma's been in a Twitch Rivals Minecraft event before, maybe multiple. I'm not really sure. But I think they would be fun to have in the roster, be very fresh. So that's mainly my most important factor in terms of who I think should join the event. Next up, Smallland. Yeah, Smant is a very highly requested player. I think he might have made the list last time as well. Smant, I think, also is someone who you wouldn't see every single time, because I don't think Smant would sign up every single time, not because he doesn't want to, but because he's kind of in a similar boat to like Ludwig, where signing up to an event isn't really a thing. It's mostly, usually it's an invite-based thing. So anyways, Smant would be a very unique POV, obviously highly requested, would be extremely hype for many of the MCC communities. I think at least Reddit would freak out. I think on the Twitter aspect, people would be super excited. I think on YouTube, people would be ecstatic about it. I think it would be a very fun POV. It would be another non-Minecrafter joining the roster. But yeah, I don't know if Smant would be selected soon, because I don't know if Scott knows Smant or knows of Smant. I'm sure he knows of Smant. I don't know if he knows Smant. But I think Smant would be a fun addition to the roster. Obviously, he's friends with a lot of the speedrunners, being a member of House Builder Gang. I think he knows like Krinios and like a couple of other people as well. So yeah, a very cool addition. Obviously, highly requested. Doesn't really need much more detail than that. Next up, Jaden. Now, Jaden is obviously member of the QSMP. Very long, has been very much present on YouTube for a long time, and probably knows a decent amount of people. At least I would assume most people know of Jaden. I don't know if it works the other way around as well, but I think Jaden would be a fantastic addition to the roster. Also, don't think that Jaden would be a frequently recurring player. I think Jaden would be more someone for a non-canon event. However, I think it would be extremely hype. I don't know if she'd be interested in it, but I would love to see Jaden play in a Minecraft event in general, whether that's MCC, Block Wars, or something else. I think it'd be super cool. So yeah, that is my number 4 pick. Next up, Fit MC. Now this one might be slightly surprising, maybe not. Fit is mainly someone who I've very, very recently seen as a good MCC candidate after TwitchCon. Now, I didn't go to TwitchCon, but Fit was on Toby's livestream, and Fit just kind of, blended into the MCC behind the scenes area very well. Obviously, is familiar with a lot of people. A lot of people are familiar with him, and I think he'd be a fantastic roster addition. I don't think Fit would be like a super insanely cracked player, which is good. Just would be probably someone middle of the board. And I could see Fit being a recurring player, maybe alongside Phil or someone else, maybe Toby, maybe, whatever. I think Fit would be a great addition to the roster. Obviously, was part of at least SMP Earth, I think. I don't know if he was in SMP Live, but I think he was in SMP Earth. So he knows a good amount of people through there. And obviously, very iconic 2B2T YouTuber, at least, and QSMP member. So yeah, Fit MC. Number 3, or I guess number 4 spot, because I think, number 2, Parker. Now, this one may come to as a bit of a surprise, but I think Parker is now probably my number 1 lifesteal rep candidate for MCC. Sorry, Red. Sorry, Zam. Parker, I think, is would be super cool. The reason is because I think Parker's been making a lot of good moves as of recent. He's become a House Builder Gang member. He has spread himself out across the community a little bit more. He's, in Block Wars history, always been super open to teaming with anyone. He's just a very, nice person, very easy to get along with, very nice to team with. And also not someone who I think would be too big of a threat in terms of skill. I don't think Parker would end up being like an S tier. I think he'd definitely be up there, but I think he'd just be a fun competitor. Maybe similar to someone like Owen, who, just is participating and always fun to see around. I think Parker would fit into MCC very nicely. I think he'd be a very fun roster addition, a very surprising one. The main issue with Parker is that he doesn't really use social media outside of like YouTube and I guess streaming and Discord, but he doesn't use Twitter, which, like, obviously that's not the biggest deal, but like if he were to be announced as an MCC player, he wouldn't even be able to be tagged because he doesn't have an account anymore. He had an account just to get his Minecraft account back and talk to Mojang, but he doesn't have an account anymore. So that would be a teeny bit of an issue. He wouldn't be able to be tagged, or people wouldn't be able to refer to Parker if they weren't familiar with him. So I don't know how possible his addition would be in terms of that, but I'm sure that if he was given the opportunity to be an MCC, he'd make a Twitter account and just never use it. So just so he can be tagged. Anyways, next up, the second to last candidate. I'm sure the last candidate will become very obvious after this one. This one is Tango Tech. Tango Tech is a Hermitcraft member who is, in my eyes at least, from my perspective, gotten a lot of attention as of recent due to Decked Out, which is a Hermitcraft-based series. I think Tango's responsible for making it, and it looks fantastic. And I know that Tango was actually present in the audience at MCC Twitch Rivals in Vegas. So he knows of the event. I don't know if he's interested in participating, but he watched it. So, he'll be familiar. I'm sure the Hermits would love to have him in. I don't know how the Hermits, I don't know what the Hermits are like behind the scenes. I don't know if they are all like super actively pushing for the rest of the members to join the cast. I know they were pushing Ital to join the cast many times. I don't know if Tango has also received that kind of treatment behind the scenes or even on stream. But I think Tango would be a fantastic addition to the roster. I think it would be super fun. And whether that it's as a one-time Hermit participant similar to many of the past players, like Ijevan, Iskal, Etho, B-Dubs, etc. I think that those might be the only ones. But there's been plenty of Hermits who've only played one event. I'm sure Tango could fit in perfectly. And he knows all the Hermitcraft members and maybe some other people outside. Maybe like an H-Bomb or something like that. Maybe some of the OGs. I think Tango would be a fantastic addition. I think it'd be super cool. And finally, obviously, final candidate is going to be Curry. I know I've mentioned Curry in the past, okay? I know he's been mentioned across the board for being a good addition to MCC, but we've gotten to the point where he's probably the number one at this point, okay? You can't really ignore it anymore at this point. Curry is the number one requested player, and he deserves it, okay? He obviously did a fantastic job casting for MCC. He seems to be very knowledgeable about the event as a viewer. He seems to be very excited about it every single time MCC is, announced and everything. He interacts with it. He puts his effort into it. And to top it all off, he knows a lot of people and just is a fantastic person to team with. Super, super nice guy. I've only rarely spoken to him, but I did interact with him a bunch of times through things like Twitch Rivals, Minecraft events back in the day, like the Cloud Fuel ones, and it was just always super fun, always super kind, very good sportsmanship, very entertaining on stream. Would be a very unique POV still, in my opinion. I think also, to top it all off, again, it has been, 2 years since the last HBG member has been added? Maybe 3? I think the last ones were like in MCC 12 with like puns and stuff, which is, I think, the end of 2020. So it's been 3 years since HBG members have joined the roster. Please, can we get 1? Even 2, 3, name all the HBG members I've mentioned in this video, which I think is 3. Yeah, I think it's 3 because I think Parker's an HBG as well. I think that's it though. Add all of them, okay? Even if it's a one-time, I don't freaking know. Maybe Curry would be a little bit brutal if it's a one-time participation. I could see Parker and Smant being one-time participants because it makes a little bit more sense for them to play once and then maybe dip. But Curry should be a main roster addition. I think he'd be such a fun POV. I understand it is extremely difficult to add more good players to the event. I could speak from experience with block wars, so I don't blame Scott for not adding Curry to the roster yet. But I'm sure that once the time rolls around for a good player to be added to the roster, it will probably be Curry Way. And I don't really think anyone else should take that spot before him. That's my take on that. And those are also the top 10 people that I think should get added to MCC. I think this list actually covers a couple of them. Day 2 had Curry, Day 3 had Tango, Day 5 had Red as an honorable mention, Day 7 had Jaden, Smant was Day 9, Isuma was Day 10, Parker was Day 17. I think most people on this list probably would be fantastic additions to the roster. I'm not familiar with with every single one of them, but I'm sure that because they've been recommended by so many people, I'm sure they'd be fantastic roster additions, even if it's for one event. Anyways, thank you for watching. That is my top 10 additions to MCC. Down here, I don't know if it will work. Down here, you can see the entire list of people. Let me know what you think about these additions to the roster, whether that's as a one-time participant with, I think, half of these people probably, or as a permanent roster addition. Give me your feedback, give me your thoughts. And if you want me to do so, if anyone's still watching at this point after 21 minutes of me yapping around, should I make teams with the top 10 people included? Let me know. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Goodbye.